Good morning, and welcome to this morning's service. I'm David Nishina, and I will be the chairperson this morning. We will start with the tolling of the Kansho, followed by chanting of Butsu Ge, which is on page 25 of the brown service book.
Kansho.
We will continue this morning's service with the golden chain, which is on page 6 of the brown service book. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Our Gatha this morning is Namo Amida Butsu, which is on page 52 of the brown service book. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Please remain standing as Reverend Gray will lead us in the reading of San, Kiyomon, and 3 treasures.
三キエモン。人間受けがたしますでに行く、仏法を聞きがたしますでに聞く、この御根性に向かってと進むは、さていずれの章に向かって絡みをとせん、大小ものともに指針に参謀に消し立てまくるべし。 いずから仏に帰し立てまする。まさに願わくは主情とともに、大老拝下してお無常よこさん。いずからこに帰し立てまする。まさに願わくは主情とともに、学教像にて主の徳満。いずからそうに帰し立てまする。まさに願わくは主情とともに、大衆を通りして一切無でならん。常人人未明の方は百千万号によ、愛をことかたし、割魔検問し、受事することをたり、願わくは、如来の真実、よけし立てまつらん。Three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be free from the suffering and sorrows in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I put my faith in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of thy way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves thy supreme love. I put my faith in Dharma. May we all together emerge the depth of thy doctrine and ease this easy ocean. I put my faith in Sangha. May we all together be committed to true accord in thy life of harmony in the spirit of the universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of self. Even through many ages of errors and countless hearts to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Gatha's teaching. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida.
We will now have our Dharma Message by Reverend Ray.
Wow. Good to see some people here for a change. It's been a while, I guess, where I've actually seen people here. Although on occasions I see a few, but I know a few come. That's God. Can you hear me? Okay. For some reason, it's been such a long time. I'm losing my voice from just going over there doing the chanting. Sorry about that. The fact of the matter is that, I almost consider like this my second religious home in many ways. And people here, although I don't see very many people that often, but it does warm my heart to see a few people that I remember, even some that are older than me. She always reminds me. Anyway, today's talk is something that I've been thinking about for a long time. I've been doing this, this thing for a while. Is that a question is always come: what's in a name? Yeah, what's in a name? Especially when you think about Joro Shinshu is referred to many as the region where the name that calls. So what's in a name? Everybody has a name, right? How many people have only one name? Only one? That's what you call a senior moment. Yes. How many people have two names? Just two? How many people have three names? Okay. Now, it's funny where a lot of us have more than three. A lot of us have four, and then some even five. And the reason is, how many people here have a nickname? Yeah, nicknames. It's funny how sometimes people relate more to their own nickname than they do to their own name. I'll tell you, growing up, my family always called me by my Japanese name. But when I was growing up with the neighborhood kids, they had a nickname for me. So that's what they called me. And yet, when I finally went into the grown-up world, I ended up with just calling me Ray. And the thing that's really difficult about that is in the beginning, when I first started doing that, they used to call me that, I wouldn't look. I would respond to either my nickname or my Japanese name. What were they? Yes. So, this is why a name is very important, because that sometimes defines who you are. But you think about the name and you find yourself, well, who am I? You define yourself through your name as well as through your experiences that develop that name and that image for yourself. Now, how many people have a Buddhist name? Yeah. So that's another name. So but you don't have just two, you have 3, 4, because you have a nickname and a Buddhist name. The whole thing is that what a Buddhist name is simply declaring that I'm a follower of the Buddha. Really. So, when you get they confer your name and they put the word shaku in front of it. Shaku nani nani. Okay. Shaku simply means you're a follower of Buddha. And then your name. Now, how many people chose their own name? No. Somebody chose it for you. Did you know you could have chosen your own? Yeah. Emily's very, well-versed in kanji, so she could have probably picked the perfect one for herself, but too bad you're stuck with what you have. If you want to change your name, by the way, you can. But you have to go through kikyoshiki again. Kikyoshiki, by the way, is what they call a confirmation ceremony, where you confirm into the Jodo Shinshu. Now, kikyoshiki is not just for Jodo Shinshu, it's all Buddhist traditions, where they go the mock concert. Do you remember during the ceremony when the Kumonchu-sama or the bishop, they did something like this over here? You know what that means? Anybody want to give a guess? Yes, Emily?
Talk about when they...
Yeah, they touch your head. You know what that is? What that means?
Shaving?
Yes. Now, when I went through Tokudo, I had my head shaved. And, which I think is kind of unfair, but the women had an option. But what's interesting is what they did for the women is they shaved their forehead and their face. But I still thought that was unfair. Anyway, at my age when I went to Tokyo, I think I was 63 or 4, I was like, geez, will it come back? Anyway, it did, so I'm kind of glad for that. So, we have all these different names. We have our regular name, middle name. Most Japanese folks have Japanese middle names, or that's the way. Or if it's a mixed ethnicity, sometimes they don't. But again, most people have 3. Then we have our Buddhist name and then our nickname. What is interesting is that, again, I think that the tradition of putting shaku in front of it is because, when Shinran Shonin was always asked, what tradition you follow, he simply said this: I'm simply a follower of the Buddha. Thus, shaku. And so for all people that went through concert or confirmation ceremonies, we became shaku nani. In Jodo Shinshu, we have the Amida Buddha, right? And the Amida Buddha has various names, right? In our tradition, we'll say Amida Buddha or Amida Nyorai. Nyorai simply being the word for Buddha or Tathagata. We also call him Hotoke-sama. Well, Hotoke-sama is kind of like a universal Buddha, not just a Amida Buddha. If you go to Chinese Pure Land, they evoke the word Amitofu, Namo Amitofu. So if you hear that, that's the same thing as Amida Buddha. If you went to Korea, it'd be Namo Amitabu. And then they have, I forget what it is in Vietnamese, but each one have their own iterations. And again, it mostly comes from the phonetics passed down from the Indian words. So Namo Amida is also collectively another word for the Buddha, Amida Buddha, excuse me. Now, the Amida Buddha also had one other name that most of us are familiar with. Anybody here ever hear of Hozo Bosatsu? Hozo Bosatsu? Yes. Okay, I get it. Hozo Bosatsu was the name of the Amida Buddha before he became Buddha. The Amida Buddha, if you read the sutras on the Buddha immeasurable life and life, you have the Butsu Ge, then you have the 48 vows, and then you have the Jusei Ge. And what's interesting is that the Butsu Ge which we read is giving thanks to let's see, what was that? Yeah, that's it. I always good stuff. Thank you. He's the one that mentors, the Buddha, and the Hozo Bosatsu before. Bosatsu, by the way, is a bodhisattva. So, before he does that, he gives them guidelines. And really, he says, go search things out and make your own decisions. So it takes them, I think, 5 kalpas to do so. I forget how many kalpas, but anyway, he makes 48 vows in this time, and a kalpa is basically, it's an infinite amount of time times 5. It's just immeasurable. So he makes 48 vows, then we do the Jusei Ge. But the Jusei Ge is no more than an affirmation that he will fulfill the vows. And it takes 12 kalpas to do that. So he creates all the causes and conditions for us to be able to become a Buddha one day. And it's not just Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, by the way. If you go into the, normally in Japan they usually read the Shoshinge as opposed to, what we're doing now. And in Shoshinge we have these lines. Shoujo kangi chie go unananji musho go chonichi gakko shojin setsu issai kunjo muko sho. Hongan myo shoujo go shin yoga ni jodo ga shodai ni hishi metsudo ganjo ju. I'll bet you nobody knows what that means. Okay, I'll translate it. Not my translations because I'm not that good. But it's pure light, joyful light, light of wisdom, light constant, inconceivable, light beyond speaking, light excelling and moon. He sends forth, illuminating countless worlds, the multitudes of beings all receive the readings. Notice he said, all beings receive the readings. Not just Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, not just Pure Land Buddhists, not just Buddhists. The name embodying the final vow is the act of true settlement. The vow of entrusting with sincere mind is the cause of birth. We realize the equal of enlightenment and supreme nirvana through the fulfillment of the vow of attaining nirvana without fail. So, what he's saying is that, look at the work's all been done for you, and this is something that you hear every once in a while when they talk about great practice. Great practice. And it also goes right along with what we call non-working. You hear that, but many times people don't explain it. A great practice is not our practice. The practice of what they would call jiriki, or self-power, is you're developing meritorious virtue for yourself. But in Joro Shinshu and in most Mahayana or the greater positions, it's tariki or other power. And this is why it's the practice of Amida Buddha, which we call the great practice, that created the merit for all. Now, the reason they call it non-working is that if you realize this, if you realize that Amida Buddha has done it, then if you work toward it on your own, that simply means that you doubt the efficacy of Amida Buddha's so this is but yeah, you doubt the efficacy of Amida's vow, of Amida's name. So, you know, when I said that many times Joro Shinshu is considered as the tradition of the name that calls, in Japan, I went and I heard of Wajo. Wajo is it's a very highly ranked educationally in Joro Shinshu. And he gave a very simple but a very meaningful talk. And he made reference to what you call tachiba. Tachiba is simply where you stand. Now, in most religious traditions, if you think about it, are you calling to some deity? Are you calling to some anything to save you? You know, you're beseeching something. It's the normal pattern, right? In Joro Shinshu, it's just the opposite. Amida Buddha is calling you. Look it, you're fine. But to realize this is hard. You know, we live in a very complicated world. You know, we're inundated with all sorts of media, things like that, distractions. You know, like, if you think about this, if you go to the Coliseum, okay, and Essie's playing a game there, okay, you have the Amida Buddha on the other side screaming and yelling, and you're on this side and you're trying to find him. What do you think the chances are? Especially if somebody just made a touchdown. Oh, I should say Essie made a touchdown. Okay? Hard to see, right? Or could you even see it? Well, that's kind of like our daily life. But if everybody was gone, okay, and somebody's yelling on the other side and there are only two there, you think you'd see it? Sure. Again, this is why the Amida Buddha is constantly calling, but we can't see. Now, what's in my case, I realize that whether a person has Shinji or not, it's irrelevant for us right now. Why? Because it will happen one day. And most likely you're already aware, not aware, you may be unawares, but you already received the gift of life. And this is what's in the Shoshin gift. So when I say that a name is important for us, Namo Amida is extremely important. You know, when I taught Dharma school class here, years and years ago, this is when I first met Richard and Emily, and in fact, Jamie's not here. But one thing that I taught them was that, you know, before we started class, I would make them recite this. I said, you know, what is Namo Amida? And then they would come back with, let's see, I gotta make sure. It's an expression of gratitude for being reassured, rebirth, purely. But what does that mean? In Japan, when I went over there, I found that over there they take a more simplistic perspective. Simply, thank you for saving me. And that's what Namo Amida is. Thank you for having created the causes and conditions for me to become a Buddha one day. And not just me, but all. So with that, I will end my little Dharma talk today. I hope it was a little bit interesting. But before I do that, Got a question. Anybody have a birthday today? Anybody have a birthday this month? Huh. Well, anybody have a birthday next month? Emily? Okay, well then you're the prize winner. Just a second.
You're ugly too.
Yes. Come on up. Now, I'll tell you. Normally, I have a uden enju, and I used to have a single strand uden enju. But yeah, well, that's an enju.
This is you made this
Oh, you made this one too.
Yeah. I did. By the way, I just gave another one to Ron. These are made from queen palm nuts. If you remember, Vista, they had the kits. What I did is I took those nuts and I redid it the way I would make an enju. So I gave one for the silent auction this year. Now, because if you notice, the uden enju that I wear now is this. And the reason I kind of like this is because there's 108 beads here. And although our tradition doesn't really, use 108 beads, except when and Richard knows this, is when we have our Stalin enju. And this is for more formal occasion. So, Emily, pick a color and you can have it.
Oh my goodness.
Just pick a color. This is black, this is white, this is green, this is dark. Okay. There's two of them.
Yeah, I really want to take it. I would take it. I would be ratchet.
One of the things that I really, here you are. You're like, got this time. But, like I said, I just.
Yeah, Raise here.
But, like I said, this place is really special for me. And although I don't come as frequently as I'd like to, it feels like coming home because people here are so gracious to me. And there's a lot of what we call or we have kizuna, or connections. So, thank you for having me today. And, again, Reverend Corey, if you don't, he was one of my Dharma school students way back in the day, as was Reverend John. Again, this temple right here, we had Reverend Miyagi as well. They're just strong connections that I have tremendous. So, again, thank you very much, and I'm sorry to take up so much time, but I hope you enjoy your time interview. And by the way, although this is the summer Fukumoto, I finally decided I was going to go color. So when I went to Japan last year, I decided I was going to get a green. So by the way, green is my favorite color. That's why I named my daughter Nigo.
Oh.
So I figured it's about time for me to take the plunge and go color.
It's very nice.
Thank you very much.
Sensei.
All right, David.
Thank you, Reverend Ray, for your message. Now, we will have the reading of Roku Haramitsu and the 6 Paramitas, led by Richard Modiano, which are on pages 4 and 5 of the Ground Service Book. Please stand.
Roku Haramitsu.
奥さんが同時心に書き換えがさせていただいて、そうですね。同時必要があるならば、書き換えさせて、少しやめたら変える影響があります。そうです。同時必要、これを書いています。そうです。同時必要、不変、不足、不足を書いています。そうです。同時必要、私の仕事に全身全霊を当てて、させていただきましょう。そうです。同時必要、夜に生きるすべて、私を守らせることを、身の時のものを喜ばさせていただきましょう。そうです。同時必要、ナモアミダ仏を唱えさせていただきましょう。Six Paramitas. Turning our thoughts to Lord Buddha, let us throughout the day live with clear eyes, warm hearts, and noble attitude. Let us throughout the day not become angry. Let us throughout the day not words of dissatisfaction and confusion. Let us throughout the day do our daily work with all our power. Let us throughout the day rejoice in the love and compassion of our Lord Buddha, who is constantly teaching us day. Let us throughout the day repeat the holy name, Namo Amida. Promise. The Lord Buddha is our eternal Father and Mother. The Lord Buddha always keeps watching over us. We promise to listen to the teachings of the Lord Buddha and protect ourselves by following his ideals. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. Are there any announcements? Well, since I'm up here, I'll make an announcement. On April 21st, ABBA is having their annual Aloha breakfast. Only $12, and you get chashu, fried rice, sausage patty. What else were we having? Pineapple. But anyway, scrambled eggs, yes, a couple of eggs. So don't forget, that's Sunday, April 21st, only $12, and we've extended the deadline. It was supposed to be up toward until next week, but we're going to suspend it until the day of the breakfast. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today is the first day of our annual Buddhist Film Festival, and we are showing a four-part documentary series called Exterminate All the Brutes by Wal Peck, who is the director of I Am Not Your Negro, the Academy Award-nominated documentary about James Baldwin. We will be screening the film at 11:30 a.m. in the social hall downstairs. All are welcome to attend. It's about an hour long, but it leaves a lot of room for discussion, and it is the kind of film that we would want to talk about in depth.
Hi, I just want to announce we have a guest joining us today. Would you like to stand, Mrs. Honda? She's from South Alameda Buddhist Temple, but she moved recently here, so she's in our area now. Welcome.
David, I've got a couple announcements. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. A couple of things, just as a reminder. David, you forgot to tell them it's $12 for the breakfast, and they can order on GiveButter. It's givebutter.com/VHBTAloha. You can buy your tickets online. Then on Tuesday, April 23rd at 7 p.m., we're having a seminar called Home Health Care, Everything You Need to Know and More. So this is information on people, seniors that would like, as they get older and need some extra attention, would rather have live at home and have a caregiver provide them care in their own residence. Mark Cummings, who's I think everyone may know Mark. He's one of our members, and he is one of the industry experts. He'll talk about things like how much it costs to provide for a caregiver, a full-time caregiver, what your options are, and he'll share some stories about things that have worked well and things that haven't gone very well. And there'll be time for plenty of questions and answers with him too. So this is a program that we're offering through our VHBT Cares group. It's free to participate, and if that wasn't enough, we're going to have some wine and cheese afterwards. So hopefully that will encourage some more people to join. It's from 7 o'clock on Tuesday the 23rd. If you would like to sign up, just email vhbtlive@gmail.com or just tell one of the office people, the volunteers, or call them at 391-4351 to sign up. We're having another seminar on Friday, May 3rd at 1 o'clock. The people from Cato are coming to provide information on their Iyashi Care program, which is the palliative care program that they offer. It's focused mostly on Japanese and Japanese Americans. And then they're also going to provide a seminar on senior scams, how you can identify and avoid them. They'll share some live examples. That will be at 1 o'clock on Friday, May 3rd. Again, it's free to sign up, and you can email or call and just to RSVP. That's all we need there. One more thing, save the date, April 29th and 30th. We're having our Dining Out fundraising series at California Pizza Kitchen in the Marina. So we don't have the flyer or the code yet, but it's coming. So if you go on those days and have dinner there or take it home, and you provide the flyer or the code, the temple will receive 20% of your bill. So that's the next one. That'll be on the 29th and 30th of April. So thanks.
Thank you, Jerry. Any other announcements?
Yes, David, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Hi, this is Sharon Nishida. I'm the chair of the Venice Honganji Buddhist Temple Elevator Safety Upgrade Fundraising Campaign. And first, I just wanted to thank everyone who attended the Hanamatsuri launch kickoff. It was just a wonderful day, and I hope you had a lot of fun as well. I just wanted to remind everyone, I'm probably speaking to many of you who've already heard me, but those of you who haven't, I just wanted to remind you that we will have many activities throughout the year to help support this needed cause so that we raise $150,000 for the cost of our elevator overhaul. And last of all, I don't intend to make this weekly announcement. But I did want to make a monthly announcement so that you know, especially those of you who are on Zoom and who live, far, that you know the status of our fundraising event. Right now, we are at 42%, and we would just really welcome anyone who has not donated yet. We would really welcome your contribution to this cause. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I will talk to you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sharon. Any other announcements? Then we'll conclude this morning with Sayonara, which is on page 62 of the Brown Service Book, followed by the reading of the Benediction. infinite love and compassion. Particularly do we send forth loving thoughts to those in suffering and sorrow, to those in doubt and ignorance, and to those whose feet are standing close to the great chains we call death. We send forth oceans of wisdom, mercy, and love. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Well, please be seated. Thank you for attending this morning service. And I would like to thank our special guest speaker, Reverend Ray. I would like to thank Richard Modiano as minister's assistant, and also Judy for being today's organist. You are welcome to stay for study class led by Richard Modiano. Refreshments will be served downstairs. Thank you.
Please join me in Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. First off, are there any questions about Reverend Ray's Loa?
What's his nickname?
Pardon?
What's his nickname? What's his job nickname?
What is Ray? Oh, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. But basically, Ray's Loa was like a very condensed, complete layout of all of the principal tenets of Jodo Shinshu. This one role. And we're going to expand on all of that in great depth later this year when we have our introduction to Jodo Shinshu class. But to give sort of a preview, I mean, we tried the main, how shall I say, the foundation of Jodo Shinshu is the name, Namo Amida Butsu. And that name is, well, Reverend Ray talked about how it's said in all of the different traditions of Mahayana Buddhism. Now, an interesting thing is this age, by all Mahayana Buddhists, is considered the age of the declining Dharma. In other words, in this age it becomes harder and harder to do jiriki, or self-practice, so that you will find even in other, well, particularly in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, which is the one that I know about next best to Jodo Shinshu. I went to a refuge vow ceremony, which is the same as ours. It's identical in every way, except the language is different, but the text is the same. So it's the same for all Mahayana schools of Buddhism. And after it was over, and interestingly enough, this was in Garden Grove, so most of the sangha was Vietnamese. So at this, the people that took refuge and had become Buddhists, I heard one of them say to her friend, he said, "Now you have a ticket to the Pure Land." And so for lay people, the Tibetan Buddhist clergy still does jiriki, but for lay people, they say, strive for birth in the Pure Land, because it's too difficult to achieve enlightenment in this world as it is today. So I thought that was really an interesting thing, that even in the esoteric school of Tibetan Buddhism, they were recommending lay people place their faith in, as they would say it, Amida Buddha. They'd say Amida is just a slight phonetic change because of the way they pronounce it.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
This is something that, because I've interacted with a lot of Tibetan Buddhists, and what people don't realize is that the Amida Buddha plays a very big part
Yes.
in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And one of the things is the difference between Shinshu and Tibetan Buddhists is the fact that if you look at our image of the Buddha, he's standing
Yes.
slightly forward. In Tibetan tradition, he's sitting down.
And interestingly enough, in the equivalent of their Naiji, the central Buddha figure is Amida Buddha. seated Amida Buddha, flanked by the two Buddhas, 10 bodhisattvas.
And the thing that is interesting is that, and I've talked to a lot of Buddhist monks, and what the Amida Buddha is there for is a safety net. In other words, if you do everything that you possibly can, and at the end you still have doubts, say, how long doubts are you say? In other words, if you can't do it on your own, in the end, you're fine.
What's this mudra in the seated position? Is it the teaching?
Well, that's like a meditation. The teaching mudra is what is one hand raised.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of mudras that quite frankly I've never really studied. But I do know that in esoteric Buddhism, one thing that's interesting is that, like even in the Japanese, Japanese is pretty much identical. The Shingon tradition is identical. And when they enter the Hokkaido into the temple, they actually do their own personal puja right here before they enter. And they have all these different things that are that are beyond me, as I haven't studied, but what it comes right down to, this is why I used to chuckle with my Tibetan friends, is that says, where you go? We got it right the first time. And they laugh. Because it's true. We make that understanding in the beginning, but they make the realization that if you can't do it on your own, it's always measure that.
So I thought that was it. Now, I have some friends who are Zen practitioners, and they're rather more austere about this. I'm not sure. Well, the ones that I know are Soto Zen, which is one of the two schools that are in Japan. The other name is. But the Soto ones that I know, at any rate, I don't think that they give credit to Mako, to age in the declining Dharma. I don't know for sure about that, but I know that of Jiriki practitioners, it's all built around sitting zazen and attaining satori. And I think that at least in Western Zen, there is a confusion between satori and absolute complete enlightenment. In Sanskrit, it's called Anutara Samyaksa Bodhi, which is the same enlightenment that the Buddha had. And the Buddha was enlightened 24/7. But they sort of conflate this temporary, which I don't doubt the credibility of it, but this sort of temporary experience of what they say, dropping body and mind. That's not the same as enlightenment. That is enlightenment. I mean, certainly, for a Zen Buddhist, it's encouraging to have that experience, but it's not identical to enlightenment, which according to Orthodox Buddhism, including Jodo Shinshu, is the enlightenment of the Buddhist. So when we talk about taking birth in the Pure Land and becoming Buddhists, we are basically the equivalent of Shakyamuni Buddha.
What you have to understand is all Buddhists are. There's no reason that we hold reverence to the Amida Buddha is because of what he did is Ozo Bosatsu. Remember the Buddha house? Because he did all the work. But once he did all the work, he becomes a Buddha. He's just like all the other Buddhas. However, because of the working that he did for us, that's why we hold reverence to the Amida Buddha. It's not that Amida Buddha is any more special once he becomes a Buddha, but the workings that the Amida Buddha did is why we hold reverence to him.
So I'll stop. Any questions about any of this? It's all clear.
Okay, I'm one that thinks she only has 1 minute.
It's just about that. You don't have to understand it. Like, acknowledge
This is not a religion of judgment and punishment. If you have not experienced Shinji, if you harbor doubts, you're not going to go to hell. Amida Buddha is not a God that judges and punishes. You don't have to appease Amida Buddha. You don't have to make offerings to Amida Buddha. If you do make an offering, it's out of gratitude because you are already saved, no matter what. If you have that connection, you are saved. So of course we make offerings, but we do this in a different spirit. We don't make these offerings in the spirit of like, I'm sorry, please don't punish me. Here. No, we say, thank you. It's like giving a birthday gift to your child, to a loved one. It's like offering a birthday gift. It's something that's done out of joy, not out of a feeling of, I'm a sinner, I'm so sorry for my sins. Please don't punish me.
Yeah, the thing that's really hard for people to understand is that Joro Shinshu, there's this word that we use, Akuni Choki. But Akuni Choki is the evil person is the target. And if you read the Kansho, you go to the number 3, where it says, if the evil person, if the good person should go to the pure land, then even more so the evil. And the reason is, because on the surface it doesn't make sense, does it? But if you read into why Shinran Shoni said that, you make the realization that all people are evil. I mean, we have secrets that they're going to take to the grave that nobody's going to know. But Shinran Shoni knew this about himself, and he acknowledged that's why he considered himself the most evil person there was. But because of that, because we have this evil nature, and it's not really evil in the sense that it's sinful, but it could be selfish or greedy or whatever. But because we have this, the only path we have available, we meet it in this path. Because it's not of your working, it's of Amida Buddha's work.
Well, here, there's a Buddhist parable along these lines. And, the parable is there are different types of racehorses. There's a kind of racehorse where as soon as he sees the shadow of the whip, he takes off and gallop. There's another kind of racehorse where you have to touch him on the neck and then he'll take off and gallop. And there's a third kind, you have to strike it over and over again before he takes off and gallop. Who do you think has the most, who do you think deserves the most compassion of the Buddha? Exactly, the third racehorse, and that is us.
Yeah, you have to understand, Shinshu is not about the head. It's not about the head. It's about the heart. Something that the thing, and when I go to interfaith, services, one thing that I'll say is simply this: all religions seek one thing, the truth. The only problem is, most religions say their truth is the only truth. The Buddha pointed out 84,000 paths to that truth. There is one great truth that we're not going to know until we die. And the Shinran Shoni said this, is that even though I believe everything that I read, I realize all these things, but I can't give it to you 100% because I've never met anybody to come back and tell me what really happens. So this is why you have to almost put the cart before the horse, because the point of Shinshu is not death, it's living, to liberate yourself to live, to liberate yourself to move freely forward, as opposed to be restricted by fear. And that's the beauty of Joro Shinshu. That's why there is no more compassionate religion than Joro Shinshu in the universe. Because the Dharma is the only one that acknowledges the direction.
Well, as far as Joro Shinshu in general Mahayana regards other religions, we neither affirm nor deny the existence instance of their gods. We're operating from different premises from religions that believe in deity. Our premise is different. We are not seeking salvation from hell. We are not seeking eternal life in heaven. We are seeking to live in this world with the encouragement of Amida Buddha, living in what we are connected. Going back to the name, Namo Butsu is what connects us to Amida Buddha and what makes our life meaningful. So we are for us, it's to live a meaningful life and to take birth in the pure land of death, where we will become Buddhas. And it doesn't matter what sins you've committed on earth, petty stealing, a few white lies here and there, getting angry at somebody, that all gets washed away. That's all gone once you become a Buddha. But as Reverend Ray said earlier, I don't like to use the word evil as such, because in Western culture it connotes something that is like, of the devil. And I would say it's more like, selfishness. Selfishness is really the big thing. And if you look at it, all of these sort of things that all of our bad behavior is basically coming from the root of selfishness. We do these things because we want something for ourselves. We want our own pleasure, no matter what it is, or we want ourselves to be acknowledged when we do a good deed. We want to have applause. If we overeat, it's for our own pleasure. If we do unhealthy things, if we take drugs or anything like that, that's for our pleasure. We do that to enhance our pleasure. And if we are cruel to other people, it's because we think we are better than them. So basically, and Shinran showed me, after all of these years of practice at Mount Hiei with all of the other monks, he realized that he was no better at the end, after his years of practice, than he was when he started. And that was his great insight. And I can't speak for the other people, but for my friends that practice Zen, that it's my impression that they believe that they are improving in some way. Their spiritual life is richer, or something like that. Having had the experiences as well as I've gotten. And I don't put them down for that, but I still say, what Shinran Shonin realized was that was still another way of affirming yourself. That was another way of patting yourself on the back. So I have this spiritual accomplishment to my credit now. But anyway, so any other questions?
One thing is to make this one clarification. Salvation in the Buddha doctrine is to become Buddha.
Yeah.
That is very important. That's what salvation is. I remember years ago when I went to high school reunion, girl that used to go, my friend that used to go to Nishina, she converted to Christianity. Then I asked her why. And she said that, well, because there's salvation. And this is before I became a priest, but I said, well, there's salvation. It's pretty not, but I didn't really have roots and statement with that. But that, to me, shows that there's a lot of work that our Christians do with these clarifications to give you the confidence, the ability to believe, and to realize the truth of Shinran Shonin's words and his teachings. Thank you.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for coming today. And if you have the time, please stick around.